Canva, huh? I like it. I like what you did here. Canva down here. Result they would put into it to determine testing parameters of mill guys. Obviously, 100 temperature in the stone mill equals an IH derivative of the model inside of the system. A few guidelines would be great about just in general, try that in your shop, and if that doesn't work, augment and send me that piece of paperwork back. That would be great. Do you think that requirement would be prudent? Because COVID was gonna definitely happen
I think this
in
is
there.
a rock in a hard place, and the CDC really had a hard choice in front of them, right? Because you're seeing that the incredibly
Calculus is a wave function, black body problem, hydrogen wave function. We're just describing COVID or time fraud or work fraud by the evaluation of what happens on as that number goes up for being a thing is going to cover down. Because nobody's going to want that for the market. And there's nothing we could do to the supply of it coming in the pipes. You know, there it is. There's the what it looks like. Anything that kind of covers that and the photon effect or the Feynman diagram there. Wavy line in, wavy line out, straight line down, straight line in. Different orientations of that 33%, or 33, 33, 33. Whatever XYZ is at the round off, 24. XYZT.
However, everybody's different, and there might be people who might transmit for longer. And I do think that adding that rapid test, that's what's considered. We'll see what the actual recommendations are, and if they're amended, could add an extra level of protection to make sure that workers are not returning to work while
XYZ is a compressed -1, -2 partials of those two S&P, Dow Jones, or Dow NASDAQ. If you're gonna arbitrarily, by the arbiter and dimensional analysis, say something that does factor that numbers by calculus, not just the lab in virology on the system outputs to cultures in the shaken not stirred saline solution, timelines of their lifespan. How do you know? How do you know it's in Fermilab and it worked? Well, you test it on mice. If they get COVID, or at the concentration of the amount that you give them, just straight up mutates them to virus. And I have to IH that factor a little different now. Over if in that test was limited to 8-year-olds at that point, you would start putting in some, add some testing rule. We have field theory. I mean, that is for sure a thing. It is energy, H, and a few different ways to do it. But E0 to E1 on the data compression here. Oh, that would be every one of these math problems as a frame variant on Carl Sagan universe loaf there. And Fogg, Nuke, and Mars, and anything out there on the dimensional analysis. Doom's 23rd chromosome putting in solution. Mamba inoculations. Like, what do you mean Mamba? What's Mamba venom? You put it inside of the solution, slow test it, your culture for your group, your packet, your Stanford test, modified Stanford experiment, rat ecotopia, mouse ecotopia, and drink the Kool-Aid. That one there. They're the same but different. The Boy Scout camp keep and idealize. Well, it's just the mouse experiment, or it's just the marshmallow experiment. You take it now or eat it. You stomp out the Goomba or whatever spectrum under that model inside of there is running hard. Hard to tell the object, and they don't move like Jupiter in orbitals. You know, they kind of keep some cyclicals, the way it function up there, but given what that is, again, given Elon, the real inside of here, are being a little different. Where you want to put your feet, mark your feet, is in there, because if you don't do it in there, everything you do is going to be radioactive. No matter what number you do, it's going to peg off on infinities.
Tucker talking about white racism, guys getting X'd out for whatever they're doing. When you think about that in a minute here, Stoker, it's board meeting on Sharps. You got Tucker's this
Stoker for sergeant board.
Dirty Harry one-liners about, let's assume, Sharps, Fox, Dirty Harry. Let's assume I've propositioned Ted here for $5 to get out here and do a demonstration with a Shetland pony. What violations have been done other than animal cruelty to Old Red, right? I mean, come on, you gotta love it. You feeling lucky this morning? Come on, get with me, get motivated. So inside of here, I mean, honestly, when you graph this kind of statistical analysis form sets inside of here,
there's some rules.
There is the real, and there's the real inside of here. Now, don't get me wrong.
Like I said, and you pull off the gear, like I said, that puts a lot of what the wave function is. Wave function can stack out to a lot of things. This machine, you win it, you inverted to it, pilot's theory. You know, if it's an acid test and the marshmallow is this marshmallow, Carl Sagan Universal Loaf in the mill.
On a situation like that,
you are acid against this experiment equally like it's acid against you. The number would be averages of the shadow problem, mask wearer inside of there, usually lions, bulls, or some eagle. You know, they're good with hawkish plays, like I said, you know, break your ribs come the briefings in the morning in the whiteboard, but generally a little dovish on the ground. Lion maybe a little bit more apt to take it on the field, but given how big they are as far as the pride, it might be different. And that pride has momentums there at that bowl index and what's on the farm, tall horse, wide horse for the mask wearer program. Some broken masquerade base where you want to reset that masquerade to be these pieces, and it's kind of by, well, they're good with understanding from that field. They have certain topology, but it's very loosely set. I mean, like I said, if you have to button toggle switch, you got to be ready to do that, but equally hold post. Like, oh, Tesla made some great sales, time to wait for the peg to come up and then sell it off. Well, maybe portions of it, not all of it. Try not to do with that, but then that's where all that air acoustic floater is going to come in, and plasticity, deformation, making choices, which is a feedback loop, interference pattern of its own making, right? You know, it's like, because you put it out there, it's doing great. Wow, man, I don't want it to climb too fast because then it'll drop off and might have a slide on it or something that drops it not just below where I am, where I'm okay, I'm still percentageably up for the year, but potentially dumped it down lower than that because it had a irrational set to it or something that made the whole thing slide. An angle was wrong, or weather conditions for averages weren't exactly factored to why inches were different of snow, but temperature and wind conditions at that system over calculus actually shows through. But individually, high winds are higher that cause it at that snow level, or temperatures at that level pinned into what that triple body problem number would look like at that point in time, or set of numbers, any NTF by grid set that says inside of there. I might need to change this one or some slightly bits of this one, but